All right, welcome to another Pomelo Pitch Deck. We've got Jesse from the EOS Bees here, and let's rock and roll. That's awesome. Nice. Yeah. So eight. I don't even know. 8,888. There's a lot of eights, right?
Yeah.
I think there's like 8 8s or something. For this season 2 of Pomelo, going out into the matching engines. This is actually our second episode of Pomelo Pitch Deck for season 2. And so I'm excited to have you here. You are, part of the EOS Bees, a big member of the EOS Bees. It's kind of like the self-proclaimed, media arm, anti-FUD busters of the, new EOS rejuvenation. Why don't you just give us a bit of a rundown for people who don't know who you are or what the EOS Bees do?
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Glad to be here. I have a digital marketing background, and I started EOS Bees to initially respond to all the negativity I was seeing in among the crypto space when talking about EOS. And we are coordinating the languages. So we have different languages, which we call hives. And the idea is we can find a bilingual leader of each language, and then we can coordinate amongst each other to share insights and to work together to promote EOS in a positive way. And perhaps we have a competitive advantage over other chains whose language communities are siloed. So that's kind of the general thing there.
Yeah, so we went through like a lot of FUD back in the early days, right? Like there were a lot of people who were, I think a lot of it came down to a lot of people being really excited about what was, going to come from the biggest ICO history. And it never really materialized. And so I think there was a lot of anger and angst and things with Block One. So what do you find the biggest uphill battle is? Because I mean, the sentiment has actually changed quite a bit. I think, since the ENF and Brock Pierce coming back and a bunch of other things. But are you guys still finding that there's a lot of anti-sentiment out there towards EOS? Or?
Yes. So I do agree that the sentiment has changed, like within our community, and our community members are, I think, more optimistic about the future direction of EOS. But about a month ago, we started working with influencers, and our talks with influencers, there's still a perception out there that either EOS is dead, EOS is centralized, and EOS is just generally bad. Some still think I've still heard like Block One scam, but I think the ENF has done a really good job of separating what the EOS network is and what Block One is. So we're making good progress there, but there's still a lot of misinformation out there.
So I think you guys had a proposal up for Pomelo season 1, if I recall correctly. Do you want to maybe give us the rundown of what that proposal was and what you guys used the funds for? And maybe we'll start there before we dive into season 2 and if there's any changes.
Yeah, definitely. So we had a grant during season 1. And at the time, we had 6 language hives. And what we really wanted to do was support and represent more of the languages of the EOS community. And so we were able to increase from 6 to 11. We're doing a lot more translations. And so before, we were mostly doing like the text portion of tweets, like much smaller translations. But now we're able to translate longer content, more sophisticated content. The other thing are swarms. So one of the ways that we are able to change the sentiment around negative tweets is coordinating all of our bees to like and retweet a positive response to that negative tweet. And we need funding for that, and so we pay our bees for that for swarms. So we're able to do more swarms, and actually in that discovery process. So like season 1 enabled us to actually pay for swarms, but in that discovery process, we've learned that there's a lot of friction in terms of like paying a lot of people at once, because we want hundreds of people doing the swarms. So paying them a little bit of EOS is challenging. And so there's a technical challenge there, and then we have an economic challenge of motivating people to do swarms, because the pay is so small, because it only takes a few seconds. And so we've hired Tippet to Tippet was on Pomelo season 1 as well. They're a great team. We asked for additional functionality in their services, which basically they're connected with Twitter. So if you like and retweet a post, you automatically get a payment. So it's a lot easier. They reduce the friction significantly. And so hiring them and paying, and actually they just recently have their version 1. So then during Pomelo season 2, now we have the tools to really do the swarms. Like we were really struggling since season 1. But now we have the right tools. So what they built for us are whitelist functionality. So if you're gonna have a valuable token like EOS, you can't just let anyone like and retweet, because they're gonna take advantage of that pool that we set towards that swarm. So we have whitelist functionality. Tippet uses NFTs to determine whether you're a member or not. And it's not just members. They've also built tiered membership. So just for example, if someone has 10,000 followers and they like and retweet something versus someone who has 100 followers, that 10,000 account should get paid more than the 100 follower account. So they've built tiered whitelist for us, and that's going to really take the bees to the next level.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, I like what Tippet's doing, and I think it's super cool. But I didn't realize that they had done the tiered thing, because that actually, I mean, I remember back in the day when Voice was discussing how they were going to onboard all of these mass media people and do that thing. They had that concept of tiered kind of marketing, but it never really materialized. So it's kind of interesting that you can do it on a macro micro scale in a way with
Right.
the built-in functionality of what Tippet has done with Twitter. So that's cool. So I guess people would have to apply to be a Bees member in order to get that. Because another problem would be battling the bots and things like that would just go out on tweeting rampages. I mean, like we deal with that in our project, in our metaverse a lot. People just trying to game the system and suck the life out of it. And I think that's.
By the way, I love your project.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think, like, I know we're talking about the bees, but just as a quick aside, taking a game that's one of the most popular games of all time, that's already established as just a killer game, and then bringing it to the blockchain. So like a lot of people, like EOS Bees, we have a new kind of system we're bringing to the blockchain, but bringing old systems and modifying it for the blockchain, that is amazing. So yeah, I love the uplift.
Yeah, I like, thanks for that. That's awesome. Like ideally we'd like to have like headquarters for everyone in there, right? And like right now we're running on Wax, but we're hopeful that we're like, we want to launch worlds on EOS. We want to launch worlds on other blockchains, Polygon, Terra, Ethereum even, and have that kind of almost internet bridge where people can come and hop through, portals and see what's going on. And I think it makes a lot more difference when you have that kind of metaversal experience. It's a little bit maybe closer to, traditional life. We get accustomed on the internet to being able to go on and just do really crappy shit to people that we might not like because we're safe behind our computer screens. And I think that a lot of that FUD, that's like where it comes from. And it's a really big problem, right? Like, I don't know whether it's paid or like, sometimes I read some of these comments that people are posting about EOS and like, I don't agree with everything that's happening, right? Like I've been here from the beginning. Most of us don't actually, right? But it's just like, I don't understand why you would just waste your time with an argument that's, something as simple as, oh, EOS is crap, it's Ponzi scam, right? Like, and it's just like, we have like the best tech, right? Like, we have such good things happening on the space, and it's just a matter of getting out from under that kind of dark cloud that we ended up in. So I'm quite excited about that. So yeah, let's go back. So season 1, we kind of covered what you guys did for the funding there, and season 2, is there anything different, or like, are you guys going to build out more functionality to this? What's the plan?
Yeah, it's mostly the same. We just want to scale up what we've been doing with the translations, with the creating content. The more new thing for season 2 is is these influencers. So we did a little bit of influencers in season 1. We kind of learned, we made some mistakes. We learned from them, and these influencers, like, they're expensive. And so the influencers that we worked with season 1 were in lower GDP per capita countries, and those are the influencers that we could afford. But with our swarms, if we can get the influencers' attention with our like 2.0 swarms from Tippet, we're going to have a chance to pay larger influencers and English-speaking influencers. And so that's probably the primary difference from season 1 and season 2.
It's interesting because, like, realistically speaking, I mean, EOS makes so much more sense in underdeveloped countries, right? Or developing countries, right? Like, fast transactions, like almost free, proof of stake where you're staking assets, much more useful than Ethereum. Maybe not as a smaller value than Bitcoin, but definitely, like, when you look at all of the people, even, in Southeast Asia, that are basically living on their phones, right? They do everything on their phones. They do their businesses on their phones. They do everything on their phones. And the ability that EOS has to potentially bring some of these most powerful dApps in there, I think that's really interesting. And like you said, like, I think a community built around people who are using the technology and who care and who can benefit from these small micropayments is the way to go, right? Like, I mean,
so
I guess
Marketplace, shout out to them. They're enabling businesses to accept and to accept EOS and to trade EOS. So yeah, shout out to them.
Okay, yeah, I think it's great, and like, I'm excited to see where you guys head with this, because it sounds like you guys have been making a lot of momentum. I mean, I've seen you out there in the space, posting the tweets and things like that, but I've never actually really gotten under the hood of what you guys are doing. So you're involved, quite deep in the EOS community. I think you did quite well in the last Eden election. And so you're involved in that side of things. So I just kind of want to ask you, are there any other things about EOS or projects within the EOS ecosystem that you or the bees are like extremely bullish on, and how are you going to tackle that and put that out there to the world?
Yeah. So I've used some of the bees treasury to incentivize other projects outside of specifically the marketing we do with the bees. And so we have 2 of those other projects right now. One is called EOS Rants, where we're incentivizing short form video content. We're putting it on a mind map. That's a collaboration with Patrick from Nova Crypto. We are rewarding 35 EOS per week for that currently. And then the other one is another collaboration with Patrick from Nova Crypto. It's called the Fractally on EOS brainstorming sessions. And when the Fractally white paper came out, some people in the EOS community mentioned that there wasn't a detailed proposal of how to implement on EOS specifically. The content of the Fractally white paper is very detailed, but not how to implement it. So that's another project that we're doing to try to brainstorm a proposal of how to implement on EOS. And we are using the Bee Treasury to reward 100 EOS per week for proposals that pass a 2/3 + 1 vote for the members participating in that group.
Yeah, the mind map is I always have my head done in by trying to wrap my head around that. Actually, we had Nova Crypto on last season for Pomelo Pitch Deck, and he went through it all, and it was one of our longest interviews, and I still only understood half of it. It's pretty ambitious and really interesting project, actually. So that's really cool that like somebody's using it for that kind of marketing avenue. So. Yeah, I mean, are you guys scheduled to do a fireside chat or anything else that like maybe people can come in and interact from the community a little bit more? Like I think over on the Discord, it's a little bit more community centric than just our kind of overview here.
Yeah, so we have a Discord server, the Bees, and every Wednesday on the fireside chat, I make sure I'm there. If anyone wants to ask a question to the Bees, yeah, and DMs on Telegram, join our Discord server. Here, maybe I should add it to the chat here.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, if you just throw it in the private chat, I'll drop it in the public comments.
So yeah, and if I could just go back for a second, there was something that you mentioned about joining the Bees, and like because there may be increased interest when we roll out our swarms, and we do want to protect it against civil. And so the way we do it is you just have to submit a video of your face saying the B code, which is no insults and no causing negative reactions. So if you do, that's all you have to do. If you do that, then you can sign up for our tippet, and then that's it. And you just like and retweet the post that's tagged EOS Bees Swarm, you'll get a little bit of a reward.
Very cool. Yeah, and so I mean it's an uphill battle, but I think that the fact that you guys have kind of taken it on to try to change around the sentiment, and it's good timing too, right? Like with the ENF funding, I mean there's a lot of good sentiment that is actually happening. What's your take on the this will affect you a little bit directly. What's your take on the rebranding? Like if we change from EOS, what happens to the EOS Bees?
So I've been looking at that pretty closely. That seems to have lose some steam.
Yeah.
The rebranding of EOS. But if we did rebrand, then we just change the name to whatever X Bees or whatever. We're keeping Bees no matter what.
The social crew, formerly known as the EOS Bees. We can do the whole Prince thing and then go back to like the EOS Bees again in 5 years when we come back. So that's great. Well, again, the Discord link is in the server. On Twitter, you can do a search for EOS Bees, and actually you guys have community members all over the world. There's different hives that are speaking different languages from the east to the west, across pretty much every continent, probably except for the penguin continent of Antarctica. But yeah, definitely get in touch with them and find out more. And like Jesse said, drop into the fireside chat. The proposal should be up in the next day or two over on the Pomelo site. So definitely go and have it a read. And yeah, thanks for joining us, Jesse. And just to hold on, I want to show you something. I'm not even sure if I know how to do this, but like, I just think this is really fun. So let's do this. Cause like, I would love to see an EOS Bees headquarters in the metaverse at like, something cool. That I'm going to take you off the screen just so that we can see it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
it's a little, the EOS Bees room in the uplift.
Yeah, well, actually, it's just it's part of one of our galleries, but I could totally see that as like a networking community center in the uplift, which would be super fun. So I don't know if any of you guys do have plots in the metaverse that are building things that are associated with the EOS Bees. Hit us up because we're more than happy to publish posts, articles, images, and put those out there.
So I bought some keys. And yeah, I just have them just in case. Like and they're just sitting there on my Wax Cloud wallet right now. And I have some rail keys. I have some land keys. and I've never played Minecraft, and so but if I have a bee that loves Minecraft, Minecraft is on EOS, we're totally gonna build some stuff.
Yeah, and like it's cool. Like Jenner EOS, we have like a headquarters there as well, so that's really cool. Like an underground kind of headquarters. So yeah, let's all like go hang out with the EOS Bees and in the metaverse and make cool stuff happen.
Sure.
Thanks very much, Jesse, for joining us. I'll be back again with Lars of the name that we cannot say because it's got 23 letters behind the name, but Lars of Facings and the Immutable Realms design in an hour or two. So please tune in for another episode of Pomelo Pitch Deck. And to all of you who tuned in today, please like and retweet this out. And I mean, if you're a verified B member, you might even get a little bit of a microtransaction for that through the tippet on the Twitter. So thank you very much, Jesse. Everyone out there, please take care. And yeah, vote bees for Pomelo.